Shir sponsor Lunish Masam Yaakov Shalom Lavas Yitzchok. We're holding in Metzia Daf Tzadik Aleph. We're starting the bottom of Daf Tzadik Amud Beis. The Gemara says, Tanu Rabban, Hachoyse Mesapora ve'Amezav. We started this. We'll just go back into this. Someone who muzzles the animal, or he mates two animals together, but he doesn't actually do the work. Then it's butter. The only time you like it is only when you actually do a disha, you do the Metzia of threshing, or you do an anaga, you let the two animals carry a load. But if they just put them together, you're not chayav. That's what we got. So what happens if you block the animal from eating with a voice? How is that so? The animal's about to eat, and the owner says, "Whoops, don't eat." Or the animals are standing, and he said, "Move it," and they start moving. So the voice moved it. Is that a problem with that? Moving your lips, moving your mouth is a ma'aseh. The Lashon in other places, the machlekes is a dibur considered to be a ma'aseh or not. Not that a person is allowed to do tumuro. Talk about eating tumur. Tumur means to exchange an animal for another animal. So a person is not allowed to do that. If he does do the amaro, it does work. The Slavik boy, and he gets malchus a boy. So you see that what? That you get malchus for what? He didn't do anything. He just said words. You see the words is a ma'aseh. Yeah, that goes according to the mandam and the whole. Even without a ma'aseh, you get malchus. So when you look at can you say that brisa, that mishnah goes like a buda? It says in the beginning, it says everybody can do tomorrow, men and women. What's a koil? Everyone can do. What do you mean everyone can do? Come they add someone who inherits, meaning if a person was yoirish an animal and he did tomorrow. So the like kabudo. Now like kabudo holds that yoirish cannot do tomorrow. The kabudo on the yoirish and umemir. Yoirish and usaymich, he then can do tomorrow, he can do smicha, which is leaning on the animal. So what do you see? You see we're not like kabudo. Because according to Buddha, the Mishnah said that everybody could do it, including someone inherited. That's not like a Buddha. And you would have said we're going like a Buddha regarding the fact that lav shema ma'aseh like himalav. So more that's not a problem. My time is sober like avasei bechado, poli bechado. This time holds like him one way, but not the other way. Meaning, yes, that's not a problem. You could say it's still like a Buddha because this time holds agrees with the Buddha lav shema ma'aseh like himalav. So the one who stays over here with this, the machlekes is dibur considered to be a ma'aseh because there's a kimas sfas of a ma'aseh. Moving the lips is considered to be a ma'aseh or not. And this is brought down already in many of the svarim. I'm going to speak about it on the Shom Hashom and the Daf, that the ma'aseh dibur, you also always have to have a ma'aseh. In this world, just doing a machshava is not good enough. Machshava doesn't work. To do mitzvahs, machshava is not enough to do averus either. You have to do a ma'aseh. Dibur is enough of a ma'aseh. We know regarding tefillah. Tefillah, a person is standing and davening. The halacha, that Nefesh HaChaim points out. A person is standing and davening, and he's not moving his lips. He is not yotzei dechayva. He has to move his lips. We're learning from Chan. Why? You see the ma'aseh have to do with the lips. Okay, says the Gemara. Oh, by the way, just to mention that it is very interesting regarding today, very nugea. What about the machines that you could operate with your voice? For example, Google Home or Alexa. All you're saying is talking with your voice. Is that going to be a problem or not? L'chor will depend on this Indian. Is dibur of a ma'aseh or not? Am I operating something with my dibur? Is that a ma'aseh or not? Even if you're not doing directly, it's a groma. You also try to stop it on Shabbos. But if you're doing a ma'aseh with your mouth, is that considered to be a ma'aseh? Gabi isur d'oraisa of Shabbos or not? That'll be an interesting discussion. Though will depend on this. Says the Gemara, someone who muzzles, blocks the animal, and he does disha. So loiku mishalim, he has to get malchus for the fact he did a lav, that he muzzled the animal, but he also has to pay. What does he have to pay? Dal kavin laparu, v'gimel kavin lachama. This is the amount you have to pay. That's the amount of food that you have to feed the animals when they're working. So it says the Gemara, I don't understand. We know the rule. The rule is you don't get two punishments. You don't get malchus and me, so you don't get malchus and money. No, it's a mayor though, you do get malchus and money. As the Satorah means, that when a person, what's an estan? If one had a relationship with a zoina, and he paid her with an animal, that animal cannot come in the mizbeach. What happens if a person had a relationship with his mother? He's getting a misa for that. He's going to get Yisur misa. Does he? And he gives her money, gives her an animal as a payment, is it also like a mizbeach? The answer is yes. Why is it also like a mizbeach? She can't be toivayayim. She can't come and demand payment. She's going to go to Bezi and say, "We made up things. You can pay me." You're not going to pay because without mice he gets misa. And no meis b'shalom. Still, the answer is also. So what do you see from here? From here, you see this is many of the Rishonim learn Rashi. That's Rashi learns over here as well. The reason is because you see from here, it's a din yuchayev b'din shemayim. You are obligated to pay. It's your obligation. I can't take it away from you in Beis Din, but you're obligated to pay. So therefore, you're saying what we're saying over here in our Gemara, that someone who was muzzling an animal gets malchus and he pays, not that you're going to force him to pay on their Beis Din. But if he wants to be Yotzei Di Shemayim, he has to pay. Once he pulled the animal, he's obligated to feed her. So the obligation starts at the beginning. Once I take the animal to work with, so I'm taking my responsibility to feed her. Once he muzzles, he gets malchus, not covering at the same time. There's two things that they asked the household, the Bismerdish of Rapapa, of Rabo, and they said it's usher. And so one they paskin, that's what we paskin halacha. One they paskin, and we don't paskin the halacha. What is it? So one goes and explains. Bo minai, they asked, sorry, I said it a little wrong. Not that they asked them. They're the ones that asked. The Be'er Rabo asked Rapapa. And they asked me too, and I told them both the Isur, one is like the halacha l'maaseh and one not. What is it? So says the Gemara, Ma'u lalush es ha'isur b'cholov. Are you allowed to put into a dough milk? Pashtul Isur, I said Isur ki yichazah. That's not halacha. You're not allowed to put milk into dough. Tanya loshim es ha'isur b'cholov. You're not allowed to make dough. You're not allowed to put milk into the dough. If you did put the milk into the dough, the bread is usher because you make up to eat with meat and you have meat and milk together. Similarly, you're not allowed to put in the oven. You don't put aliyah. Aliyah is the fat of the animal, and you're coming from the tail. If you do it, the entire paskul is usher because people are going to come and going to eat the bread with milk, right? So that you don't want to make the meat not milchik and not fleshik. You want to keep it parv. And that's halach, unless you make a sign. It's a bread that's clearly done in a certain way that only milchik breads are done. The other question they asked me, can I put two animals into a pen? I want to put in two. I want to put two animals which are not supposed to be together. They're mean, they shane and meaner. They cannot mate. Can I put them together in the pen? I'm not going to make anything more than that. I said it's asur. The lav kichus. That's not the halacha. By menafim, when you have a man and a woman who are doing an aveiro of niyuf, and they want to testify, they don't have to testify more than seeing them doing an act that looks like a intimate act. They see them, one on top of each other. That's enough. But when you talk about kilayim by animals, the only time you have isur is actually yachnis ki mikchol b'shoferes. Mikchol b'shoferes, mikchol is like a type, Rashi explains over here, you put it on the eye. It's really like a type of pen, of quill. So you put into the shreferes, into where you put the ink. Rashi says the mikol is referring to specifically put in the eye. So it's like the pen that you put into the eye. So you need to see the actual mikol going into the shreferes. In other words, in order for kilayim to happen, it's only when the owner is taking the male from one type of animal and mating it directly with a female of another type of animal. And he's doing it. Not that they're doing it on their own. He is the one who's mating them. He's putting mikol reverse. It's like putting the quill into the ink. You're not allowed to let them mate. I would say just don't hold on ever to any female animal when the male is trying to mate. Kilayim, you're not allowed to do it. But if it's not kilayim, you're allowed to hold on to the female when the male is coming. You mean to hold this also. No, achiza means putting it in, putting the actual aver into the inside. Why is it called achiza? Using a proper lashon. Instead of saying the actual word, you're saying holding on to the animal. It really means much more than that. When you have two animals from the same kind, you're allowed to mate them in the most strongest way possible. Put the mikol into the reverse. Even pritus is not a problem. Why is that pritus? Now, what's the problem with pritus? Rashi points out, we said in the Gemara of the Zohar says, a person should not stare at a male donkey and a female donkey mating, or a male pig and a female pig mating, because it brings a person to hira avera. So a person should not look at that. Here, not only you can look, you can actually be involved in the act. Why? My time of Torah. He's busy with his work. And this is, by the way, what is the Torah? That's his job. He's working right now. He's not doing it for Taivas or just steering. He's doing it for the job of mating that he's the owner. This, by the way, is a big kula that, for example, doctors, trainers, and any professional in the business who's doing something which is lifeguards. It's a little more complicated, but because lifeguards, of course, he's really busy. But when a person is busy with his work, so then the problem of tznius is much less. So Metzia asks about what we just said, that only when you actually do the mice is the problem. Let's say on base of that. If it says do not marbia the animal, similar to what I said before, person should not hold on to the female animal and allow the male to come. You're allowed to put a female and male together, only not allowed to do kilayim. They'll talk about only achiza, to holding on to her, but not actually mating. So same answer. Talk about actually mating, putting the aver into the place. It's just a nice solution, saying holding on to the animal. Are you allowed to put them into a pen? The mean, so what's the suffix? You're putting a cow and a cow, and then you're putting a goat. So the cow will be with the cow, won't be, the ox will be the cow, not the goat. Rashi points out, because really there's no Isser at all until, the Isser is only when you mamish mating, as we saw before. So it's like no, that's not Rashi over here, but the Rishonim point that out. Why? We should produce it out, because the preachers are avodim, that avodim go and they will come to mate in so I don't even allow it to put into the deer. I didn't even allow them to put into the pen, even though there's no Isser be'etzem to do that. Very good. So the Mishnah. A person is working with his hands but not with his legs. Or I feel a bit safely. Or he's just using his shoulders. He's schlepping something in his shoulders, not using his hands and legs. Can eat from the food. It has to be hands and legs. Second, my time, it says in the pasuk, just come into the vineyard, so you're allowed to eat. Basically, my time in the base Kishore, you learn from an axe. You use your hands and legs. So you learn, because we said before, you do a hekesh between the animal and the Adam. And the Adam needs to use hands, the animal uses hands and legs. That's how animal works. So according to Shita of Rabbi Yehuda, what happens if he uses to thresh he uses birds, he uses chicken and geese. You need to use your entire strength, and that's okay, and that's what you have over here. And what's the point? By autumn, if I'm using my legs and not my hands, I'm not using everything I have. But here they're using their legs. He's not using hands and legs, so this brings you a gear. So the second one that we finish says you have to use his wings to be part of it. So we'll take Proudly, if they didn't walk on the gas, on the place where you step on the grapes, to crisscross. So the thing is, so they can eat the grapes. Why they can eat the grapes? Because the grapes is right away. They're starting the pulo. You get the grapes, but now the wine, because the wine is not happening. It's not considered to be that the wine is already there. Right? It's the only nikr in the Anovi, as Rashi says. Because he's using now the grapes, not the wine. The wine didn't come yet. But once they already expressed it, they went back and forth on the grapes, so then you can eat the grapes and drink the wine. So the Mishnah. Right? He was eating in the figs, he should not eat in the grapes. So this is the rule that we already mentioned before. He's working one type of food, he should not go eat another type of food. So he's eating the fig, he's working figs, don't eat grapes. He's working the grapes, don't do the figs. But if he's doing grapes, and he knows that down the row, there's much better grapes, much ripe grapes, he doesn't have to eat right away. He can eat a little bit and continue eating when he gets there. That's always in the middle of work. Only while the worker is working, he can eat, not in between. Because the Sholas Avedo, meaning the owner should not lose, they said, when they're going from one row of grapes to the other row of grapes, they should eat in between, even though right now they're not working. But the owner prefers that, so they don't eat while they're working. So when they're coming back from the vineyard. We'll see in the Gemara, this last step has nothing to do with what we said before. Another time when an animal can eat, which is Chamor Kishiprekas, we'll see in a moment. Person is doing one grape, can eat from another grape. You have to be the ones that you're working on. You're working on grapes. You have to have the actual item that you're working on. You're working on one grape, and you want one vine, you want to use the other vine. You want to tell me if you're doing one vine, you can't do the other. How does the ox eat b'mechubar? So Rashi learns what's the problem with ox b'mechubar. He says because the people are standing behind the ox and they're peeling out the grapes, and the ox is in front. So the ox is not where they're working on. Taisa says much more. Disagrees a little with Rashi's explanation. It's very simple. When an animal is eating and threshing on wheat, every wheat is one kernel. So he's threshing of the wheat behind, he's eating the wheat in front. It's not the same wheat. So the Gemara, Sarcha means a very long piece of tree or wheat. So he's working on one and eating the other side. Look at our Mishnah. It says if you're doing figs, don't eat grapes. But if it's two types of figs, similar, meaning two rows, you won't tell me once you're doing one vine, you can't do another vine. How can it be that you're eating grapes and figs from the same tree? Yes, it could be. You know what it could be? That the fig tree is hanging on the grape tree. So they are one on top of each other. So if you have fig tree on top of another fig tree, so then if you're eating from one, you can eat from the other. But if you have grapes and figs one on top of each other, then you can't eat. But if you have two fig trees, one not next to each other, so if you're doing one, you can't eat the other. He says you don't have to eat right away. Wait till the nicer place. If you're saying, once you're working on one vine, you can eat another vine, so why have to wait to get there? Don't wait to get there. Eat right now from there. So it says, well, also, there, because he's wasting time. If I'm working on this grape, I have to walk to the other side of the vine and eat the other side of the vineyard, so I'm wasting time. We're talking about a case, he's not wasting time. How can he not waste time? His wife and kids are there. That's all the time of work. That's the end of our Mishnah. Even really you should do only while you're working. But because of Shos Aveda, so you should be doing as you should doing in between. While you're walking, as if you're working. Because of Shos Aveda, because of the special din dispensation that we said, we don't want the owners to lose, so the owners are Michael, you can do it. When me, you're not allowed to do it. So you're not allowed to do from one vine to another vine. Usually do it. No, while you're walking, you're not working. While I'm working on one grape, I can do another grape. But here I'm walking from one row to another row. In between, I'm not doing anything. That's not considered to be working. Really walking is not considered to be usamais. By the time should the lav ko usamais dami? Reason he's not eating because he's not doing a maise. How usamais? Mashra be if you would be doing a maise, you would eat. The only problem here is because he's walking between the rows. But if you would be next to the trees, it would be fine. Really, if you're doing one vine, you can't do another vine. So they want to have to say really, basically, the Gemara boils different okimtos to come to say there's no riot from here to any side. Says the Gemara, once you unloaded the donkey, when is she eating from? Meaning, while there's a load on the animal can eat. A donkey and a cow can eat from their load. Well, eventually, you can just give it to them. They have to just eat whatever is sticking in the cave to eat it. While the load is on top of them, that's considered malacha they could do. So this is this daf.